Upon his death from a torturous 4-day bout with pneumonia in 1932, Frank McErlane was described by Chicago police as the toughest gangster of them all. His ruthless bootlegging peers in the Windy City feared him so much they reportedly paid him a pension of hundreds of dollars a week just to stay out of town. McErlane, with the Saltus McErlane gang of the city's south side, was as cruel and mean as any in gangdom, and a maximum danger when blackout drunk and armed. Chicago lore credits him as the first mobster to use a Thompson submachine gun in an attempted gang hit, and with originating the term one-way ride to describe a doomed hit target. During his marathon pneumonia delirium, medical attendants heard him scream, "Don't let them take me for a ride." Born in Chicago in 1894, McErlane slid into crime by his late teens. During Prohibition in 1922, with himself, a merciless killer, during the outfit's beer wars, slaying 3 members of a rival liquor gang run by Edward Spike O'Donnell. McErlane's ill-famed debut of the Tommy gun during the beer wars occurred on September 25th, 1925, with O'Donnell his intended victim. The Thompson, created as a military weapon, could fire 100.45 caliber shots in 5 seconds. O'Donnell, standing outside a drugstore at 63rd Street and Western Avenue, ducked below a nearby auto as McErlane's burst shattered the store's window. McErlane somehow avoided death while the object of a dozen shootings. In 1927, he and his gang member brother Vincent rebuffed attempts by police to undergo mental testing for a possible hold in a psychiatric hospital. The Chicago Crime Commission placed Frank on the city's 28-member public enemies list, headed by Al Capone. Even worse, in what Chicago cops then regarded as the most brutal killing of the century, in October 1931, a drunken McErlane used a Thompson to unload slugs into the rear of an open car containing his common-law wife, Marion, killing her and her 2 dogs. McErlane abandoned his vehicle and made his way out of town. Police right away suspected McErlane as the triggerman, figuring in one news account, "No one but Frank could be so cruel." Officers looked for him for 8 weeks as he stayed on the lam in Madison, Wisconsin, then turned himself in. Arrested and held on $25,000 bail, McErlane won out again. A coroner's jury. Since there were no witnesses, McErlane got off scot-free. He served time in jail for robbery, assault to murder, assault to kill, accessory to murder, burglary, and aiding a prison escape. He helped a convicted murderer out of the Cook County Jail. Though he killed multiple people, he never did time for murder. While on the sauce, he tended to go wild, roaming up and down the streets of the South Side, firing a shotgun at imaginary pedestrians. In one such case, After police picked him up, he told of seeing a large army of green snakes and pink elephants. They tried to bump me off, but I beat them to it. Once, in an argument with his wife Marion, she shot him in the leg, causing a fracture. While in a Chicago hospital with the broken leg, a group of gunmen thrust into his room, guns blazing. McErlin, wounded 3 times, grabbed a pistol from under his pillow and returned fire as the assailants took off. In the last months of his life, McErlin lived on a houseboat far from Chicago, in Beardstown, in western Illinois, with his mother. He entered a hospital there on October 4th, 1932, and died 4 days later. Considered a pauper, McErlin was buried in a cheap coffin. But his reputation lived on for a bit. According to the Courier newspaper of Waterloo, Iowa, his family opted to keep the location of his funeral a secret, since it was feared enemies might attempt to maim the body.